Hello everyone, on today's lesson we'll be talking about conditionals. In English we have four basic types of conditionals. We have zero conditional, we have the first conditional, the second conditional and the third conditional. Now let's begin with the question, what are conditionals? Po slovensky sú to podmienkové vety. Čiže keď chceme povedať napríklad keď niečo, tak niečo. Ak niečo, tak niečo. Čiže chceme vyjadriť nejakú podmienku. Napríklad, ak by som vyhral veľa peňazí, kúpil by som si jachtu. Áno? Sometimes in English we call them if clauses. They describe something that might happen in the present or in the future or something that might have happened in the past. Čiže opisujeme nimi veci, ktoré sa mohli stať buď v prítomnosti, v budúcnosti, alebo aj v minulosti, či keď špekulujeme o minulosti. We use different tenses with different conditionals, and every conditional has two parts. We have the if clause and the main clause. Čiže hovoríme o veciach, ktoré sa mohli stať v minulosti, v prítomnosti alebo v budúcnosti. Používame rôzne časy. Let's begin with the easiest one, the most simple one, the zero conditional. When do we use it? We use this conditional when we talk about general facts or general habits, when we talk about something that is true now and always, something that is real, something that is always possible. And there's this handy rule with zero conditional that we can replace if with when. Čiže keď hovoríme nejakú všeobecnú pravdu, niečo, čo je platné teraz a vždy, nejaké všeobecné fakty, we use zero conditional. What does it look like? We can look at its form. Okay, so we use if plus present simple and then again present simple. So it's very simple, very easy. It's just present simple and present simple. Okay, let's look at some examples. If you add 2 and 2, you get 4. That's a basic fact. Čiže ak pridáte 2 a 2, dostanete 4. That's a basic fact that is true always. Okay. Let's look at its structure. We use if at the beginning of the if clause, and then we use present simple and present simple. So it's very easy. Let's look at some other examples. If you heat ice, it melts. Ak zohrejete ľad, roztopí sa. Again, a very basic fact. If it rains, the grass is wet. Again, something that is always true, that is a fact. Ak prší, tak tráva, áno, je mokrá. If I cry, I have a headache. That is something that always happens to me. Okay? Čiže keď použijeme zero conditional, aby sme toto vyjadrili. So if you use zero conditional to explain that we always have a headache, we say if I cry, I have a headache. It means I always get a headache after I cry. Okay? That's a fact. Now let's look at this short story that contains zero conditional. Let's begin with the boy in the bed. If I oversleep, I miss the bus. Okay, that is a fact. Ak zaspím, zmeškam autobus. That is a fact. If I miss the bus, I am late for school. Again, that is a fact. Ak zmeškam autobus, budem meškať do školy. And if I am late for school, my teacher gets angry. Okay, that is a fact. My teacher always gets angry when I'm late for school. Okay, so that is zero conditional. Something that is true, something that is a fact. That is something that is always true, okay, a general fact. Now let's move on to the first conditional. When do we use the first conditional? We use the first conditional to refer to the future. When we talk about possible or likely things in the future. Čiže budúcnosť, ale pravdepodobná budúcnosť. Čiže niečo, čo sa pravdepodobne stane, čo je veľká šanca, že sa stane. Čiže probable result in the future. What does it look like? Again, we use if plus present simple, but then we use future tense with will, okay? So present simple and then will plus infinitive. Let's look at some examples which will help you understand. If it rains, we will cancel the trip. So we're talking about the future, okay? Ak bude pršať, zrušíme výlet, okay? So this isn't like a basic general fact, like with zero conditional. We're speculating about the future. Okay, we're saying something that is probably going to happen. If it rains, we will most probably cancel the trip. Okay, there is a high chance that we will cancel the trip because we need sunny weather for this trip. And if it rains, we can't go. Okay, let's look at some other examples. If you don't hurry, you will miss the train. Ak sa nepoponáhľaš, zmeškáš vlak. Again, that is something that will probably happen in the future. If you don't hurry, you will miss the train. There is a high chance that this will happen in the future. If it rains today, you will get wet. Ak dnes bude pršať, zmokneš. Again, there is a high probability, vysoká pravdepodobnosť, že sa toto stane. Okay? If you study, you will pass the exam. Čiže, ak sa budeš učiť, spravíš skúšku. Again, if you study, there is a high probability that you will pass your exam. Let's look at the structure. With if plus present simple, and then will plus infinitive. Okay, so it's very simple, very easy. We use it to talk about the future. Now let's look at some examples. Here is a very, very short story. If I go to London, I will see the Big Ben. Now we know the Big Ben is in London, so if I go to London, there is a very high chance that I will see it. It's not 100%, it's not a zero conditional, it's not a general fact, it's not something that is always true. You don't have to go see the Big Ben when you're in London, but there's a high chance that you will, okay? So that's why we use the first conditional. We're speculating, we're talking about probable future, something that will probably happen in the future. If I go to London, I will see the Big Ben, okay? Now the second conditional, okay? The first conditional was talking about something that will happen in the future or might happen, something that will probably happen in the future. And the second conditional is when we talk about impossible things in the future or things that probably will not happen, okay? So the first conditional was when we talk about something that will probably happen. Now we're talking about something that will probably not happen, okay? Takže nejaká nemožná prítomnosť alebo nepravdepodobná budúcnosť, niečo, čo sa pravdepodobne nestane. We're just speculating. It's an unlikely situation. What does it look like? We use if plus past simple, then would plus infinitive. So we're moving on from the first conditional. Present simple changes into past simple, and will changes into would. Okay, so we're speculating about things in the present and the future. Let's look at some examples. If I had a lot of money, I would travel around the world. Čiže ak by som mal veľa peňazí, cestoval by som okolo sveta. This is a speculation. This probably will not happen because I do not have a lot of money. I'm just speculating. Keby som mal veľa peňazí, cestoval by som okolo sveta. But I do not have a lot of money. Okay, this is just a speculation about the present or the future. If I won a lottery, I would travel a lot. Okay, zase, ak by som vyhral lotériu, veľa by som cestoval. Again, there is a very little chance that you will win a lottery. Čiže veľmi malá šanca, že vyhráte lotériu. So it's a speculation about the present or the future, something that will probably not happen. If they sold their house, they would be rich. Ak by predali svoj dom, boli by bohatí. Again, we're speculating. Okay, this probably will not happen. Maybe because they don't want to sell their house. Okay, or they don't need to, or they don't want to. Okay, we're just speculating. Oh, keby boli predali ten dom, tak áno, boli by bohatí. But that will probably not happen. In the third example, if I spoke Italian, I would be working in Italy. Ak by som hovoril po taliansky, pracoval by som v Taliansku. Again, I don't speak Italian, I'm just speculating. I'm just talking about improbable present, something that probably isn't going to happen, okay? I don't speak Italian, but if I spoke Italian, I would be working in Italy. That's just like my opinion, okay? Let's move on to a short story that uses second conditional. If I were an astronaut, I would travel in a spaceship. Again, we're speculating about the present. The boy is not an astronaut, he's just dreaming about it. Okay, let's say he's just dreaming about this, imagining it. If I were an astronaut, I would travel in a spaceship. If I traveled in a spaceship, I would go to Mars. If I went to Mars, I would meet a Martian. If I met a Martian, I wouldn't understand him. If I didn't understand him, I would come back to the Earth. Okay, so we see the form. We use past simple plus would plus infinitive, always with the second condition when we're speculating about the present, the future. Okay, something that probably isn't going to happen. It's just our imagination or our dreams and plans. Okay. Now the third conditional is the most complicated one. We use it when we talk about something in the past. We're speculating about the past and we're speculating about the results in the past. We're talking about an imaginary results in the past, something that isn't real. Čiže len tak lamentujeme, špekulujeme nad minulosťou, čiže rozmýšľame, keby som bol vtedy niečo spravil, tak by sa možno niečo stalo. Čiže bola špekulácia nad minulosťou. We're talking about unreal past condition and its probable result. Čiže ak by sa niečo stalo v minulosti, čo sa nestalo, tak špekulujeme, premýšľame nad tým, ako by to dopadlo, čo by sa potom stalo ďalej. What does it look like? We use if plus past perfect and then would plus have plus past participle. So basically would plus present perfect, okay? So past perfect, would and present perfect. Let's look at some examples which will help you understand it better. If I had gone to the bed early, I would have caught the train. Okay? If I had gone to bed early, I would have caught the train. Čiže ak by som išiel skôr do postele, bol by som chytil alebo stihol vlak. Čiže špekulujeme o niečom, čo sa stalo v minulosti. Áno? Už sme v tom druhom dni, ale špekulujeme možno v predchádzajúcom večeri, kedy sme neišli skoro spať, ale zastíhame premýšľať, špekulovať. Keby som bol išiel skôr spať, bol by som ráno stihol ten vlak. Okay? If you had studied, you would have passed the exam. Keby si sa bol učil, bol by si spravil skúšku. If I hadn't been sick, I would have gone to your party. Keby som nebol chorý, išiel by som na tvoju party. If the weather had been good, we would have gone water skiing. Keby bolo dobré počasie, keby počasie bolo dobré, boli by sme išli na vodné lyže. Čiže špekulujeme o niečom, čo sa stalo v minulosti. Okay, we're speculating about something that didn't happen in the past, and we're imagining it. We're imagining it, and we're imagining the possible result. Let's look at a short story. If you had studied hard, you wouldn't have failed your exam. Okay, so the teacher is yelling at a student. Hovorí mu, že keby sa bol učil, nespravil skúšku. Okay, so he got an F. He didn't pass his exam. Then his mom is yelling at him. If you had passed your exam, you could have gone to the beach. Again, keby si bol spravil skúšku, mohol si ísť na pláž. We're speculating on something that happened in the past. And then the boy himself is speculating about the past. If I had gone to the beach, I would have made sand castles. Okay? Keby som išiel na pláž, staval by som pieskové hrady z piesku. So he's speculating about something that didn't happen in the past. Okay? Let's summarize all the conditionals. Okay, so we have four basic types of conditionals in English. We have zero conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. When do we use them? We use the zero conditional when we talk about general truths, general fact, something that is always true. Okay, if you add 2 and 2, you get 4. That's always true. We use the first conditional when we talk about likely things in the future. Okay, so the first conditional, something that probably will happen in the future. Okay, likely things in the future. Second conditional, those are unlikely things in the future or present. Okay, something that probably isn't going to happen. And then third conditional, we're talking about imaginary past and its consequences. So we're talking about something in the past, niečo v minulosti, ano? What does it look like? So with zero conditional, it's easy. We use present simple and present simple. With the first conditional, we use present simple and future with will. Okay, and the second conditional, present simple changes into past simple and will changes into would. Okay, so past simple plus would, and in the third conditional, use past perfect plus would plus present perfect. Okay, and this is the last summary. Some examples to sum everything up. Let's look at the girl. In the top picture, she's in 3 different situations using 3 different conditionals. On the first picture, she uses the first conditional. If I study, I will pass. We can see that she's studying. Okay, so she's saying something that probably is going to happen because she's studying. She's talking about a probable future, something that will probably happen in the future. Because she's studying, she knows she will pass. In the second picture, she's using the second conditional. You can see she isn't studying, she's outside, she's having fun. She's just stating that, if I studied, I would pass. Okay, that probably isn't going to happen because she isn't studying. We can see she's having fun, but she's acknowledging that, yes, if I studied, I would pass. And in the third conditional, you can see she's in school. This is probably after the exam, and she's speculating about the past. Oh, if I had studied, I would have passed. Oh, už to ľutuje. Ano, čiže rozmýšľa nad tou minulosťou. Keby som sa bola učila, bola by som to spravila. If I had studied, I would have passed. Okay? And we have one more example with Garfield. He's using second conditional. Okay? Maybe John would treat me nicer if I treated him nicer. Okay? Čiže možno by sa John ku mne správal lepšie, keby som sa ja k nemu správal lepšie. Garfield uses the second conditional because this isn't something that he wants to do. He doesn't want to treat John nicer. Okay? He's just thinking about it. That it would maybe happen, but it isn't going to happen because he doesn't want to be nicer to John. As we can see in the third picture, he just fakes an injury to get some sympathy from John. Okay? He doesn't want to treat him nicer. Okay, that is all about conditionals. Okay, are there any questions?